would like to reopen the Village of Bronxville Board of Trustees meeting for May 11th, 2026, and just ask all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do not have our deputy mayor with us tonight. He is away on business, so we have four of us here tonight. And we're going to start the meeting. I think I will have our special guest start, and then we'll do mayor and administrative report. Is that okay, Mr. Palmer?
Yes. Yep.
And I'd love to, if you could come to the microphone, our special guest. I love this, Maxwell K. Goldberg.
Oh, official.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Okay. Sounds like I'm in trouble.
Yes, I used to know you as Max, but now you're Maxwell K. So
Apparently, yeah.
apparently. And Max is the Deputy Chief and Public Information Officer of our Eastchester Ambulance EMS service.
That's
And
correct.
you come to us every year. I got the solicitation envelope. And,
Nice.
And I would love, the one thing I'm asked all the time, and I know you will reiterate it, but everyone thinks the ambulance service is covered in the umbrella of their fire district taxes.
Yes.
So when they get an envelope saying, please contribute, I know a lot of people think, well, I've paid my fire district taxes. You get zero.
That's
from
correct.
that budget.
So beautiful segue, because I'm going to be actually talking about some legislation later on in my, let's call it a speech, about how that pertains to us and how that's a really relevant comment that you just made. For the people that don't know me, my name is Max Goldberg. I'm Deputy Chief and Public Information Officer with Eastchester EMS. I've been with the agency for 18 years. Very, very proud of it. And although I can say I'm a little bit biased, it's a very, very impressive organization, from response times to critical care to equipment and services. We are definitely the anchor and staple for Westchester EMS services, and the awards that we have received have dictated such. Now, I'm here today to talk to you guys about the increased call volume. That's my normal spiel. We did 3,500 calls last year, which is again, another uptick, but that's really relevant this year. And that's relevant because of new state legislation that was just passed and will be now brought down to the county level, making EMS an essential service and part of the public safety umbrella on the same level as police and fire. Now, this is super important because as of this legislation, there's going to be certain oversights that the counties have to send a plan to the state, and that plan has to be struck up by each municipality within the county. What that means is Eastchester EMS is a very reliable, very qualified agency, and it is providing more than adequate, and I'm going to bring that up, more than adequate service to Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe. This legislation is enacted to make sure that every resident of the state of New York has proper emergency medical service care. When they call 911, an ambulance is guaranteed to come, and they're guaranteed to give top-level emergency medical service. So this is important. Eastchester EMS does that, and Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe is extremely lucky to have such a great service. I'm not speaking as a representative of the service, but I'm speaking in generally. It is really, truly next level. My family lives in the town, and if I wasn't comfortable with it, I'd make it known because I want to give them the best service possible. But we're lucky, and we have a very, very high level. So What does that mean for us? I've talked about this on numerous occasions. We send out mailers for donations, and the reason why we do so is because 95% of our funding is through grants, donations, and medical billing. Now, there's one thing all those things have in common. They're not guaranteed. And what that means is right now, Medicare and Medicaid, we are not getting back as much as we used to. We used to get about 64% back in medical billing. We're getting even less than that. Donations, people go through hardships. There's uncertainties, and sometimes, which is totally get it, people are donating to other causes and can't donate to us. I very much understand that, but that does directly affect us and leaves us in a very vulnerable space. So that's actually quite important, because a part of this legislation is ensuring longevity, stability, and reliability in the EMS agency. Operations, we have covered. We are more than equipped. But to be able to say that we are safely in a position for continued care for years to come, I can't say we are. Unfortunately, we are relying heavily on one of our outside contracts right now. Pelham Manor had a serious issue with their EMS coverage. We stepped in and said, hey, we're able to assist you. We're able to provide you with fantastic EMS coverage, and we will do so with this contract. And we went through contract negotiations, and we came upon a number that, as a non-for-profit, we're not profiting off it. We are just providing quality emergency medical care to our neighbors. And that is really allowing us in Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe to pay for a lot of expenses that we didn't have planned when everything, as far as equipment, personnel, healthcare came up. We didn't have the ability to pay for that because of declining donations, declining grants, and extremely declining medical billing. So it's a model that's been helping us, but it's not a model that we can or should rely on. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to really say, I've been talking about this for years. We really need to speak with Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe, and I'm here speaking with Bronxville. We need to find time to have a conversation and sit down and figure out what is the action plan to ensure that we are able to continue providing the coverage we currently provide to our districts. And that is absolutely pivotal. For the legislation, once it is struck as a start date, each county has 6 months to come up with a plan and return it back to the state level with a plan. Right now, the way our covering structure works, we are well within the bounds of what the plan is looking for, but not as far as financial stability, reliability, and capital expense changes. Perfect example, we operate 10 vehicles right now to make adequate coverage for Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe. Our garage houses 2, and the garage leaks water. So we're very, very overgrown. We have locker room. Our locker rooms are in our bathrooms. We don't have much, because when we started, at least when I started, I can say, our call volume was around 1,700, and now it's 3,500. So there's definitely a higher demand. And our vehicles, equipment, everything is taking a hit on that. Perfect example, I was talking to my wife the other day, and we were looking to go away to Maine, and I have an old Jeep. I said, can we drive the old Jeep? Mainly because it's cool and I could take some nice photos. And she goes, no, the car's too old. It's not as reliable anymore. I don't think that's a good idea. And I was thinking about that. I said, okay, I agree. That's a good point. And then as I was coming here, I realized one of my ambulances is 12 years old and has 167,000 miles on it for 911 service. I don't want that transporting my parents. I want to make sure that we have the funds to give them a reliable vehicle day in and day out. So although it's not a trip to Maine, it's a way more important trip to the hospital. So the floor, I'm releasing it. If you guys have any questions, I know it's actually a pretty complex legislation, but I'm happy to answer all of them.
I have 2 questions. One is, after you present this plan to the state, is the state coming up with any cash for anybody?
So that's a great question and a very important question. So right now, the state is figuring out what the action plan would be as far as grants are concerned. Are they
Okay.
going to allocate any funds? How that's going to trickle down? They haven't given a timeline on that. They've more given a timeline of providing providing the state with what we currently have, how we're operating, and whether or not is considered sufficient. Now, you and I can consider something sufficient. The state might come back and say something differently, but I can confidently say, based on the state recognized awards that we've received and the way we operate, that we are well within bounds.
Okay, and can you break down, I just think, knowing that we all got that letter.
Yeah, I can
How
explain that.
many of the 3,500 calls, how many were in, we have 2,650 addresses in the village. Do you
Yeah.
have a sense of how many times your service helped those right here in the
Yeah,
village?
just shy of 700.
So we had 700.
So it varies year over year. It really is extremely year dependent.
Okay,
So just shy of 700, and then we have higher ones that I don't necessarily qualify. Let's say if we're on the Parkway, we don't lump that into Bronxville, even though it could be a Bronxville resident. We don't lump it in.
right.
We like to keep it kind of showing whether it's the businesses or residents.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for Max?
Yeah, I have a question and a request. First of all, if you can send to
Be happy to.
Mr. Palmer a copy of the
Yes.
legislation, and
Yeah.
if there's sort of a nice summary plan that makes it more
I
explainable.
wouldn't call it a nice summary plan, but there's a summary plan.
But,
It's a little long.
But I'd love to sort of understand the issue a little bit more. My question is, you have 10 vehicles. Where are they stationed when they aren't at your HQ over on Waverly? Do all dispatches come from Waverly? And do you sort of rotate the equipment through Waverly, or do you sometimes get calls that you dispatch a vehicle that's sort of parked somewhere else?
So
I'm curious.
it's a good question. So our address is 257 Main Street. We're across the street from Value Drugs in Eastchester. But what we do is, again, all of our we have a lot of expenses. We don't idle our vehicles, meaning leaving them parked like a police car would do. They're turning out of the station. And unfortunately, a big issue right now that I see as someone that helps looking at capital expenses is if our vehicle is, let's say, out of service or not being driven, a majority of our vehicles are sitting out in the elements 365 days a year. As we know with our police cars, the shelf life is not the shelf life of a civilian vehicle. However, we're using our vehicles for that civilian shelf life, meaning between 9 and 12 years. 9 and 12 years of being outdoors all day, and it's a big wear and tear. So yeah, we're at 257 Main Street.
Yeah, I use Waverly because I'm old enough to remember when the Value Drugs was actually the Waverly Lanes bowling alley. So I always think of it as just Waverly.
Okay, so new petition, Waverly Lanes Bowling Alley comes back because that would be awesome.
Yeah, we've lost Waverly Lanes, we lost the Bronxville Lanes.
I know.
The bowling constituency is in decline, but no, thank you for all you do. And like the mayor, I got my solicitation
And
over
I'd
the
like
weekend as well. So.
to harp on the solicitation just to tie that back in. The reason why we do that solicitation is obviously we're not a part of the tax district. We're relying on those donations as a 501c3 organization for our operations. And every dollar that goes towards those donations helps us greatly. But now it's time to see that the business model, let's call it, has changed. And although we have a great volunteer base, really fantastic volunteer base, having a volunteer base as your primary source of staffing is a vulnerable thing to do if you don't have any financial backup to ensure longevity. The reason why this legislation went into place was in other municipalities that are not as lucky, the decline in volunteerism actually has generated 911 calls that an ambulance doesn't get out the door. And that's everyone's worst nightmare, a nightmare that we haven't had to face, but one that we always need to keep in the back of our minds.
Oh, go ahead.
I just had 2 points. One, just a shout out to the community fund of Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe.
Amazing.
Tonight is their annual golf outing.
Yes.
I believe the main recipient this year is,
Yeah,
the
so
organization EVAC, so I think they recognize, how important and
they
critical
do.
it is to this whole community, so.
So one, and thank you for bringing this up. Several really important things about the community fund is not only do they donate $52,000 a year for us to sock away for a new ambulance, and when every 3 to 4 years we get a new ambulance, they also advocate for us endlessly, including this current golf outing where they are supporting us and raising funds for us. Everything they do for us has absolutely been fantastic, but I would say the best thing they do is explain how we operate. They are the first to say these guys rely on donations. This is how they get their funding. This is what's going on. And they're also ones to really see and realize as they reach out to other communities, we're an anomaly. We're in a really, really great spot. We have some really great providers and the way we're set up, but that's something that could go away. Something that we don't want to go away. So we want to be here for our community. Our community has always supported us, and we want to continue to support them.
The second point or question I had is
Yeah.
is there a specific way that we in Bronxville here on the board can support EVAC in this, the legislation push, or, to advocate for either at
Yes.
the county level or at the state level to, help drive it forward in a way that's working for you?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of ways we can go about it, but I think one, and this is me speaking with a lot of confidence, is saying we have a great model right here. The model that is currently working with Eastchester EMS for operations is a great model, and it's something that we can use to model how other jurisdictions should operate. But it's also our opportunity to sit down with you guys, to sit down with everyone and say, all right, what do we need to meet the reliability standard, to meet the financial stability standard, to continue going forward without any risk of further financial hardship? And what can we do to ensure longevity, whether it be capital upgrades of a building, ensuring we're able to pay our staff appropriately, whatever the case may be, because we are a hybrid agency, whatever the case may be. But I think step one is sitting down together and saying, hey, what do you guys do in Pelham, for example? How does that work? We'll explain everything. We're an open book. We want to be a part of this community, and we want to show that we're willing to do whatever it takes to ensure. So I think step one is sitting down and really saying, okay, talking to the state now and county and saying, okay, we're going to give you this plan. We really are excited to show you what we have. We have a really robust plan, but what does that mean for us?
One question people ask me is, what is the skill set of the people who arrive in the ambulance?
So there's a variety of skill sets. So as a hybrid agency, meaning we have volunteer and paid, we have a variety of skill set. If you are a volunteer and you just start fresh, you come in with a CPR card and we start training you, and you start as a third, which is essentially an assistant, a second or third pair of hands. Then you go to get your EMT certificate, and then you become an emergency medical technician, and you get up to the basic life support level of emergency medical care. And then we have our series of paramedics, which we operate 2 paramedics at a time, which is above standard, a series of paramedics that are advanced life support, and they've gone for a longer period of time to school where they can do further medical interventions. I'm very proud to say that a lot of our paramedics and EMTs also double as nurses and some even as doctors, but when they are in the ambulance, they are certified as either a paramedic or an EMT.
Okay, well, I just want to thank you. I've known you since you started this in 18
Yes.
years.
When I had a fro.
Yeah. And your dedication is extraordinary. And
Thank you.
please thank, on behalf of all of us, everybody that works over there on Main Street. 'Cause
Of course.
they help us out. I mean, 700 calls, you're in the village twice a day.
Yes.
I mean, that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So just a major, we are very grateful. And we will speak to our assemblywoman, our senator, just to make sure this stays front burner.
Yeah. And Shelley Mayer is heading it up. So if you guys have any questions, she's also a great point of contact to to speak with. But again, thank you for your continued support. You guys have always been a massive supporter of Eastchester EMS, and we want to be here for you and hope that this legislation will help us all to ensure that.
Thank you, Max. Thank you.
All right, folks,
Thank you.
take care. Have a nice night and be
Take
safe.
care. Enjoy your evening. All right, we're going to go on to the mayor's report, and mine is just everything is happening in a good way this time of year. This morning, there was a meeting, Mr. Palmer was there. Our giving garden is starting up again. And the wonderful man, Dave Phillips, who has taken care of it for us for a decade, he is actually a Broadway musician. And he also gardened for us for a decade. We have another gentleman, Vince Spataforda, who's going to take over for Dave Phillips. But I just want to thank Dave tonight. Just all volunteer, all hard work. And he would spend the day at the garden before he headed into the Book of Mormon, I believe. He's in the orchestra. Also, we had a wonderful lecture by Jane Warman. It was a packed house at the library to talk about the extraordinary art collection that the village displays thanks to our Bronxville Historical Conservancy. So a thank you to Jane and the Conservancy. On Arbor Day, we planted what we all know is a gum tree out on the corner, near the corner of Pondfield and Gramerton. And it has seeds to feed birds. It's in the pollinator pathway. And it was the perfect tree to plant there. On the 16th, Janssen Hospice is having their benefit. You can just look it up on the internet, but they support theirs, always appreciated. The school, which I adore, is having an art show outside and inside, May 18th and 19th. And they invite everyone to come see all the artists that we have at the Bronxville School. We also, we have our Take Back Day at the end of the month. I'm just trying to give you everything that happens before our next board meeting. 10 to 1, the shredder will be over at the elementary school, as it is usually, and they continue to expand. Over here behind Village Hall, they accept electronics, clothing, shoes, books, linens, towels. So please come and take advantage of that. Saturday, it is Saturday, May 30th, 10 to 1. And the school budget vote is May 19th. And the school had to go over the New York State tax cap. So they have to get a turnout, a positive vote of 60% plus 1. So this is a big vote for the school. And that's all day on May 19th. And I think, the leaf blower ban is starting on the 15th of this month. And you will stop hearing gas-powered blowers until October 15th. So it's going to get nice and quiet around here.
Mayor Marvin, may I interrupt you about farmer's market, please?
Oh, yes. All right. You know what? You go and add.
That's fine. I was going to give it to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Our first day at the farmer's market was this past Saturday, May 9th. And we started off the season with a bang, a little bit of a rain situation, but nothing we couldn't handle, and a lot of vendors and a wonderful start to the season. So great selection of artisan bakers and cheesemongers and fruit and veg. So hope everyone's out there. And then also our sidewalk sale, which is going to be on the 29th and the 30th of this month, and a great way to support our local merchants and to shop small and to shop Bronxville. So I hope you'll all be out there as well.
And do you want to, Trustee Knapp, talk about all things Memorial Day and 250th anniversary? You have two hats. on it.
Yeah. Well, luckily in this case, the hats are coming together around Memorial Day. So lots of wonderful things, as usual, in this community going on to celebrate Memorial Day. Starting this week, Thursday, May 15th, the Eastchester veterans have their annual commemoration event. It's taking place at Eastchester High School in their auditorium, 7 p.m., and they're doing a special tribute to the veterans from our community who fought in the Battle of Fallujah. So that should be a really special event that it's a wonderful ceremony they have every year. And then next week, really, things kick into high gear here for Memorial Day. The school has a complete lineup of different events every day of the week. We, on Friday, are going to be taking place in the school's commemoration on the morning of Friday, where they are recognizing the special holiday and bringing in the students and members of the community, which is always a wonderful event. And everybody in the community is welcome to attend and encouraged to attend on Friday morning in front of the school. And then a little later that morning, we are planting a special Liberty tree to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the nation. So around 11 o'clock after the morning festivities at the school, a group of students and village officials are planting that Liberty tree on the library lawn on the Midland side. So that will be a wonderful event, again, for the public to take part in. We are doing this in conjunction with Eastchester and Tuckahoe. So they are also planning to plant Liberty trees in their communities on that day as well. Really in commemoration of this whole effort that Eastchester town has put together this year to commemorate the nation's 250th. Just speaking about more events that the Eastchester community is doing to celebrate the 250th anniversary, there is a golf outing and community dinner at Lake Isle on June 29th. And all members of the community are invited to participate. Even if you don't golf, there's going to be a really nice dinner, auction items, so a real celebration of our communities and the 250th anniversary this year. And the parade, of course, on Monday, the highlight of the weekend. We have our wonderful Grand Marshals, Randy and Corky Frost. That will kick off 8:30 in the morning on Monday morning at Leonard Morange Square. So I think we're trying to make this year's parade the most special ever, right? With
How many bands, Marianne? 7 bands, and pretty good, so we don't have to entertain.
oh, we're polishing off our dancing shoes.
Shoes,
right?
yeah.
We need to something. So.
And I'm just so proud that the village has recognized my skill set, and I'm a judge of baked goods and a judge of the dog show. So I love doing it, and I can't wait I was glad when I got the call. So, and there's so much going on. If you go on the school website, there's a fair for the kids. They've really outdone themselves this year. So just congratulations to everybody working so hard at the school. And I will go to Trustee Fredericks.
There, I was trying to find on my phone without success. If memory serves, Gramerton Village is having its annual event, May Magic. Does someone know the date? I wanted to say June.
Gramerton Village on June 3rd, Wednesday.
Wednesday, June 3rd. And so anyone who's interested in that, I'm sure can call up Gramerton Village or go to their website and get tickets. Obviously, another one of our phenomenal village groups doing so much for particularly our senior citizens. I was just going to reiterate that although I seem for personal reasons to always have a scheduling conflict whenever there's a tree planting, I will give my broken record comment again for villagers who may not be aware that the village presently has a tree planting program to subsidize the planting of trees in village-owned right-of-way property, which for most folks who live in a single-family home, the village actually owns your first 10 feet of property. We try not to camp out on it, but if you'd like a tree there, call Thomas Morzello and get details about the plan, because we have a very generous subsidy program in partnership with the Bronxville Historical Conservancy, and we all need to be planting more trees in village-owned property and private property. And also a special point, that this tree planting program is not just for folks in single-family residences. If you live in an apartment and you want to talk to your apartment association or group and sort of say, yeah, we'd really like a tree in front of our apartment building or multifamily dwelling, it's open to everybody. And so we really want to make this a special Arbor Day year where we're doing more than just planting a tree or two. There has been, it's not quite Amazon jungle deforestation in this part of Westchester County, but the tree canopy is reduced from what it's been in over the last couple of decades. And so this is a really great opportunity to get a government subsidy. And we want to plant more trees, and we want to plant trees where people want them. So if you really want a tree, call Thomas Morzello. But I think that's my news from this.
Okay, and I think before I turn it over to Mr. Palmer, the Beautification Committee, Bronxville Beautification, their event is going to be June 14th. It's a garden party, but right now they're looking for villagers, as they have done in the past, to sponsor one of those planters in town. You've probably noticed the planters are all kind of quiet while the seasons change. So if you go on the BBC website, they're really counting on villagers to sponsor a planter. And Mr. Palmer, I will turn it over to you.
And just before you do that, I just say that this is sort of the first full year where we're seeing plantings in some of the median strips that Mr. Palmer supervised the installation of last year, and that includes sort of between Lamoran Square and the corner on the other side of Parkway Road, where a lot of train traffic goes, and also between Pondfield Road and where the Coogan Veneruso firm offices were. And thank you through you, Jim, to DPW for getting those plantings up and started, because it's a nice addition. It's nice to have something other than just blacktop and concrete there, but it's nice to see the green shoots coming out even in new places in the village. I'm sorry for that interruption, Jim.
No, perfect segue, Trustee Fredericks. Yes, so it's just that time of year now that, of course, the board has approved the operating budget, where most of the new items on the agenda are for capital projects that we plan to undertake in the coming weeks. And yes, for the DPW's perspective, again, switching seasons from the winter to now getting all the beds done on those islands. And they've really, the DPW has mulched all those, and the BBC no doubt will be doing additional plantings. But of course, everyone saw the beautiful tulips that all came up that they worked so hard to plant in the fall. But the DPW is out, and they're working on using that new vacuum piece of equipment that we purchased 2 years ago to clean out all the catch basins, all the debris from the winter. Already we've done a significant amount of paving and striping. So just ask everyone to be a little patient. We've had the striping company in town for these last couple of weeks to redo crosswalks. They just finished up the crosswalk down there at Paxton, Mayor, and Palmer today. Again, those crosswalks all get terribly worn over the course of the winter, but many of those have already been done. And on that note, they just striped at the bottom of Hobart, where Hobart intersects with Summit, a small, striped a small island there to direct traffic left or right, also to act as a traffic calming. So we look forward to hearing some feedback on that. And also in consideration on the agenda for tonight is to consider some no parking on Prescott in the vicinity, or on Avon in the vicinity of Prescott. And we just striped up on Prescott and Island, which we previously had on Prescott at the intersection of Avon, but that too got worn. And we've enlarged that to help improve visibility for residents entering and exiting Prescott by pulling Prescott closer out into Avon so they can see it clearly. So we appreciate some feedback on that. And again, we started out with striping on all these projects as we did with the islands downtown so we can get feedback. And then we put bollards up on the marking so then we can test the fire trucks and other emergency equipment turning because it all requires some tweaking. But those islands did great. The DPW has been maintaining them nicely. We talked about the striping already, even though also on the agenda is paving. We did pave several streets already, and we were able to do that under last year's contract, so it saved the 2.5% increase in the price per ton for blacktop. And tomorrow, the assistant village administrator and I are meeting with our team on the solar panels to move forward with that. Again, a lot of steps, a lot of work with Con Ed, but we're quite close to getting actually started on the installation, so we're pleased about that. Mary, you already mentioned about the gas power blowers. Just to remind.
You're back to that point again. So when do you think the installation might roughly?
We might actually see some installation starting within the next 3 weeks. Yeah. So material has been ordered, and that's very positive. Just a reminder that the village offices will be closed on Memorial Day then, which is Monday, May 25th. We'll all be at the parade, right, Mary Ann? Let's see, I mentioned those two other intersections. Yeah, I guess that's it. Just really working on getting all these summer projects started in advance.
Jim, is there a brief update on the street signs?
Oh, yes. So, yes, our first delivery of street signs should be coming within 2 weeks. That was last week, so maybe we might actually start to get some from next week. Yep, they were going to be painting them this week, so we'll make sure. So then we'll bake.
And these
we'll
are
bake
not
that
new
into the-
street signs. These are street signs to replace and repair our existing beloved street signs.
Yes, yep, a very, that too, a very lengthy process, and I have plenty of video which I shared with the Conservancy of them actually making the molds. So this is not your standard street sign, as everyone knows. These are have multiple components to them, but we look forward to having the DPW starting to install those and making sure some of the Conservancy members can be there as well. So.
In fact, I have to say, with all the road work we're trying to do, a woman emailed me today, and my colleagues know my difficulties talking into my phone, and I told her I was on it and I was sending the strippers her way. Oh, and they did, well, the stripers came. Close. Oh, all righty, then we have some new business. We don't have a great deal tonight. First one is authorizing year-end budget transfers. We have our treasurer here, Lori Voss. A big thank you for all you've done. And Jim or Lori, do you want to just talk about what's in the resolution?
Yes, so this includes two components. Some of it's housekeeping as we close out the 25-26 fiscal year. Monies have been set aside for previously approved increases that need to simply now be moved from where they were budgeted for in contingency into the appropriate departmental line items. So that's one of the items that you're going to be closing out. And then this resolution also authorizes the treasurer and I to execute transfers for the treasurer to be able to perform transfers within the department for overages within individual department items. And of course, as always, if there's any increase in appropriations that are needed, we would come back to the board with individual resolutions for those. But this does allow the treasurer to move perhaps monies from a supply item to another account within that department if needed.
Okay, do I have a motion to authorize the transfers? And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And then we have a resolution. We're going to be doing some public sidewalk and curbing improvements this spring to the tune of $100,000, a capital project. Just a reminder to our residents are responsible for their own sidewalks, but we do all the municipal streets. Anything else we need to elaborate on? We're just doing it where needed, correct? I mean, that's.
Yes, and I will highlight just a couple of the locations. One of the immediate locations, and again, sometimes winter comes awfully quickly, but we're really getting a jump on some of these projects earlier. So where we've been working with homeowners along Midland in the vicinity of Masterton to redo their section of sidewalk. This week, actually, we'll be having a contractor retained by the village finish the final section. That's the village's responsibility, where the sidewalk meets Masterton. And we're also going to be extending new curbing. If the board remembers, several years ago, one of the traffic calming projects and pedestrian improvements was to put new handicap ramps and reduce that island and add the rectangular rapid flashing beacons right where the school children come down the hill. So we've had that area with a couple bollards and striping, and now we're going to put that official curving in to tighten up that turn at Masterton and put a new handicap ramp in again to further shrink the exposure of the pedestrian. And so that'll be done. That's part of that project. And again, with some of these larger projects that the DPW can't do, we have we retain the private contract. There's going to be sections of a whole section of sidewalk, a whole section of curbing that's missing where Sunset meets Valley that's going to be replaced in the coming weeks. So where the DPW can do some of the individual sidewalk repairs like they did right out in front of Village Hall, we'll do. Otherwise, we'll retain the contractor. So those are just a couple of the projects to get us started.
Okay, well, I will move that, and I need a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, and then like as we just said, Eastchester always goes out to bid for our paving in conjunction with Tuckahoe, and already we've done some of the paving at last year's prices, but if you could just authorize again, continuing the paving, and the prices increased about 2.3% to $132 per ton, and Petrillo Contracting was once again the low bidder for that project.
And we do, this is really a good thing that the three communities have come together as we get a little bit of, we used to bid separately in the old days, and now we actually get them a little better because we get a volume discount as opposed to each of us going out under separate contracts. So we thank our neighbors in Eastchester and Tuckahoe. Would someone like to move the intermunicipal agreement?
I will so move.
All right, and a second.
I will second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Yeah.
I just wanted just a quick, does Petrillo usually win out, or does it shift year to year?
It has shifted, although I think probably for the last 3 years, Petrillo Contracting has been the low bidder. And they're also a local company, which helps, and I will say, very accessible. He'll text me on a Sunday night, Jim, we have an opening. Can we get in the beginning of the week? It can be, again, not to be redundant, but last year, the winter came quickly, and everyone's trying to get paving in. So he's, yes, reputable contractor, and usually very good also working on any issues with residents. Just, just on that note, on the paving note, for the residents' edification, there are many spots over the course of the winter where Con Ed has ripped up a section of the pavement or even a section of the brick road as a result of a gas emergency. They have their own contractors that they use for restoration. In this case, Con Ed actually uses Petrillo. So there are several locations where Con Ed will be coming in. Con Ed's Petrillo will be doing work for them. So we're trying to get those also on the schedule. And then Veolia has their own separate contractor also to restore to the village's specifications, and we're trying to get them in. So if it's not done yet, we're just working to get their companies in. So.
Jim, my quick question was, is there a schedule of repaving that residents can access on the website, which sort of gives them an idea? It's like, is my street up this year or next year?
No, we don't have it, but they're welcome they can certainly call me to ask where they are in the queue before we do the, although last fall, I think some of the streets that we weren't able to get to, we notified the residents. And of course, we notified the neighborhoods in advance of doing the paving, but.
I just recall having seen something like that. Now I can't remember where I saw it. I mean, maybe, it's worth posting just on the website somewhere under DPW, just sort of say, in the coming year, if you live on XYZ Street, you're getting surfacing.
And before I forget, Mary Ann, you let me down. I did not approve the minutes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we were going to jump
I
to that.
realized
Yes.
and all the hard work, and I appreciate it. I need a motion to approve minutes from the executive, the work session, and the regular meeting of April 13th. And then we had a special meeting on April 21st. So we have 4 sets of minutes to be approved. And I will move that. And could I have a second? Okay, second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mary Ann. And now another capital project, Jim, tennis and pickleball.
Yes, we're working on getting estimates for this work, and we anticipate this to be a little less than $50,000 to do some restoration of the courts, of the tennis courts down along Garden Avenue to reseal and repair some cracks to protect them and extend their useful life, and then at the same time resurface the courts in their entirety so that we can restripe all the courts to also have the pickleball lines on them.
Will all the courts have pickle lines on them?
Yeah, with the exception of the clay courts, so all the other 3 courts, which basically we're doubling the capacity of that. And yeah, and just on that note, again, the interest, Elite Rackets seems to be doing a terrific job. We've automated the system, and reservations can even be done online. People can do them at any time in the middle of the night, and then we confirm residency, and then they get approved immediately. And that seems to be really well received, and they have a great team of coaching professionals that seem to be doing a great job. So, but again, this is part of the effort to increase the ability to use pickleball, which is equally as popular as tennis, if not more these days. Yeah.
Helen, would you like to move
I
that?
will move that.
Yeah. And I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And for newer residents who may not be familiar with it, I mean, as the village administrator pointed out, you can get tennis lessons and, and I don't know whether they're running like a summer clinic program for kids or whatnot, but
Yes.
good, the Waverly Lanes may be gone, but the Bronxville Tennis Clinic is still there. Glad that some things remain the same, but yeah, particularly for new residents to the village, I mean, it's really, great asset. I mean, it's a great public facility, so.
I'm going to make you liaison to all bowling establishments, okay?
Well, I'll be very quiet. in that case.
All righty, so did we vote on the pickle? Yes, so we're good. So we're down to our last resolution, and this is just to schedule a public hearing, but a little background, we've talked to our friends and neighbors up on Avon Road, Avon near Prescott Ave, and folks have concerns about traffic speed up on that big turn from Sagamore down to Midland, as well as visibility coming out onto Avon from Prescott. And so this is scheduling a hearing to talk about it at our meeting, at our June meeting. And so I need a motion just to put it on our schedule. Okay, and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes. Jim, anything you'd like to add to that?
Just that we'll, let's see, we will communicate currently what's proposed to all the neighbors in the area. And again, I think it is a combination of factors. And I do also, as I mentioned earlier, we did initially stripe an enlarged island up on Prescott with the intersection of Avon to act in part as a traffic calming measure and to also help pull patrons, residents coming out of Prescott closer safely into Avon so they can see traffic coming east and westbound. But part of what the board will be considering is extending a no parking area on the southerly side of Avon to reduce the number of vehicles that are parking right on top of the intersection with Prescott. And as I said, other measures include already extending that island. Once we perfect what the island looks like, we will probably then put bollards on to better define it. And then at some point in the future, following feedback, traditionally usually a year, then we would actually construct on island like a mountable curving around it, but perhaps some plantings, low plantings in it. But part of what the striping has done is to, again, act as a traffic calming measure. And something that we would consider in conjunction with this is moving the center line, the double yellow line to the center of the road, where right now it's shifted to the southerly side. So several efforts. We want feedback from everyone in the community, and everyone knows where it can be reached, but we'll start that process with scheduling the public hearing for potentially extending the no parking at our June 8th meeting.
Okay,
And let me just add to that for those watching, and maybe for our friends in my hometown Bronxville, in terms of their regular weekly article about the meeting. I think it's my own personal view is it's not clear what the best solution is to that particular stretch of Avon. This resolution talks about increasing no parking on the street. I've heard people say that to some extent, if you have more parking, it narrows the road, and that sort of acts as a traffic calming device. So if you have like no parking on either side of the street for a stretch, does that encourage speeding? I think some residents are concerned about speeding. Some are concerned about parking. I think there's sort of a lot going on up in the hilltop. So again, I think we're all going to sort of look at this with an open mind as to what we can do, but having a hearing will at least expedite our ability to move things. But again, I think folks on Prescott, maybe on that little stretch of valley, should also be informed because I think if we're eliminating parking on Avon it's possible that that will be more parking over there. I'm not saying it will or it won't, but it's, why is it that parking is always an issue in the
Parking
village,
does
Mayor?
have an equal and opposite reaction, but I'm sorry, and I forgot to add for the board did discuss, again, requesting that the chief of police have some
Like some data.
detailed surveillance data, some actual hard data of what the speeding is up there in that corridor. We do have 2 digital monitors, and I believe I was up there this afternoon. The DPW were going to and did adjust those to also have some of those traffic calming measures. When you go below 25 miles an hour, it turns green and it lets you know when you're in compliance. In and of itself, not going to guarantee compliance, but we will get some police data also for that piece. So thank you.
And just to be clear, if people can't make the meeting or don't want to come to the meeting, although our meetings are always fun and exciting, everyone's always welcome, they can always just email comments that they may have to Mr. Palmer, and Mr. Palmer will circulate.
You know, I'm sorry, I should also have mentioned, I talked to the DPW. Of course, the police right now have been canvassing the most recent 2 police lists that the village had requested. So for the last 2 weeks, they've been whittling down some 60 candidates. So hopefully at your June meeting, you will have the best of the best to consider a few new appointments to the police department.
Perfect. Trustees, before I open it to the public for thoughts on any subject, did we forget anything? And I just want to say, Trustee O'Friel, it's a pleasure to have you as a colleague. So it's good to have you here. All right, then I will open it to anyone who would like to talk about anything. No? Yeah, please come up, and if you just give name and maybe affiliation, address, and at the microphone so folks at home can hear you. And welcome.
Thank you. I'm Susan Johnson. I'm president of the Bronxville Rotary, and I wanted to invite you all to join us at our day of service this Saturday off of Garrett Avenue in Tuckahoe. We will be planting trees, removing vines, and building a pollinator garden for the butterflies and the bees. So, and I have T-shirts.
What's the location again?
Sorry?
What's the location again?
It's off Garrett Avenue
Garrett Avenue.
in Tuckahoe.
Okay, and everybody's welcome. You could just
Everybody's
use,
welcome.
Okay.
Everybody's welcome.
Okay, what a nice, you do so much service around the whole catchment area. So, and just wish you good weather.
Thank
So,
you. Us
thank
too.
you.
There's no rain date.
Yes, okay. No rain day, yeah.
I just want to say, we went to the event across the street, now I'm looking at all the artwork, like, oh, is this what they're doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like you're over in the hall at the cows.
yeah,
We should have an event that talks about our work of art in this village hall.
we should. That was,
I go by the friends
Yeah.
who read the.
Yeah.
and you know what's been really nice? Residents, a lot more residents have just come over to look at the art, you know, not that they have business in the village hall, but they just, and it's just nice to have them here. And Trustee Knapp was saying we should ask Jane Mormon, who gave the lecture and is so knowledgeable, maybe to do a little concentrate on, because there's beautiful art all over this building. So thank you for mentioning that.
Was her talk recorded?
Yes, it'll be on, that's a good, her talk was taped and we'll put it on our cable channel. Yes, yeah. All righty, then I need a motion. Our June meeting is what date?
June 8th.
8th. All righty, and I just hope we see everybody. So much is happening in the village between now and June 8th. So I just wish everybody get out there. And Mother's Day was such a buzz in the village. It was pure joy. So I hope it continues through the spring. So a motion to meet again on June 8th.
So moved.
And a second. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? See you in June.